Hello and welcome in. I am MissKinghorn and we are back here in The Sims 4 and we are back building for our world collection, and this time we are taking a trip down under and we are off to Australia. Now I've got to be honest, I've not really thought too much about Australian kind of houses, but when I was kind of researching different kind of world locations and different houses, I kind of had a thought. We've done quite a lot in Europe, we've done a lot of Scandinavia, a sneak peek, we're going to be doing a little bit in Asia. Why not head down on it? So that is what we decided to do, and I've got to be fair, I fell down a rabbit hole and I think I walked around, I think it was Melbourne suburbs, for a really long time. Literally, Google Earth, walking down little residential roads, probably for over an hour. But I found a house. Anyway, and then, yeah, that kind of led to some inspiration and a little bit of searching, and yeah, it led to what we are doing here today. So we're actually starting off a little bit differently with this one. We actually have a detached garage on the side of this. And yeah, that was kind of, I wanted to build right to left in this because I knew that this lot was a little bit of a weird one. So this is actually in Oasis Springs. This is in the Parched Prospect neighbourhood. It is a 40 by 30 lot. Like half of it is kind of connected to the road on the right hand side, which is why I've done the garage this side, and then the rest of it's kind of just onto open grassland in the world. So I thought this would be the perfect place to kind of place this lot in here. So yeah, we've got the garage down one side, we've got some really nice tall hedges in there just to kind of break it up a little bit, and then this fence, I absolutely love this fence. It looks so good and so realistic. It's kind of got like the steel frame and then the wood that's kind of all different heights in there. I don't think we've kind of got anything similar to that, at least not like an actual fence. This is a live edit fence, but we get a lot of that in, so brace yourselves for that. But this house actually turns out to be a 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom. I've got to be fair, that was one of the sticking points, but you'll actually notice this is a single story home. It is so small. I actually had a bit of a nightmare when it came to this house. It was, yeah, the floor plan of this took me forever because I knew I wanted a 4 bedrooms, a family of 5 to go in here. We have a teenager, we have a child, and we have a toddler in here, and then obviously the couple, or both parents in here as well. So yeah, you might be able to see them. I do pop out to them, especially when we come to the kids' rooms, because I was not entirely sure of like who they were as people. I was kind of getting little glimpses and trying to make this house fit for them. They are just off the gallery, they are not mine, which is why I don't release the families that we use for this. It is better if I do not stay in CAS for longer than is absolutely necessary. I have maybe about 4 or 5 people who I go and get families from, and it is solely their work in there. I do not claim any credit for the families in my builds unless I specify otherwise, or they are a particular sim that I really wanted in here, and I spend way too long in that. But anyway, now one thing I did learn, Australian houses, there is the picture as we come up to do the roofs of this. So this is just a really nice, simple, 1-story sort of suburban home, and I thought it looked a little bit different than my other suburban homes because I feel like I've done quite a few of those recently, and yeah, I just didn't want to let them to all be the same. I wanted to kind of change this up a little bit in here. I do break away a little bit with the roofing here. You'll sort of see that it's slightly different. That is just simply because of the way I had to do it in game. So yeah, don't hate me for that one. But yeah, it was a bit of a nice change. I don't think I've really done a single story home for a while, so I really wanted to kind of get that kind of done and just make a really nice sort of home in here for them. But as I say, this is a 4-bedroom, which means that some of the rooms are quite small. I did have to kind of compromise on that a little bit, but you'll sort of see as we go along in there, they are kind of all individually sort of focused and in their full particular stems and stuff, but I will explain their sort of personalities as we go along. So there is the family at the front here. We have the dad, who is a teacher. The mum, I think, I can't remember what the mum did. She goes to work, I know that much. In like the 48 hours that I playtested this, she went to work, but I can't remember what she did. And then obviously the 3 children in there. But using the cats and dogs windows in here to just kind of pull that up. So I had this image that you just saw on my screen next to me, and I just tried to create it as much as I can. Obviously some things are just impossible to do, but I actually thought this was really, really sort of nicely done in here. But I'll let you be the judge of that down in the comments. What do you think? Do you like this? Do you prefer 1-story buildings to 2? Let me know in there. And yeah, this back garden actually kind of has like 2, maybe 3 different elements to it in here. I'll sort of talk about them all in there, but why I kind of did it as I did is when I was sort of walking around Melbourne, as one does, from the comfort of the UK in here, I was seeing there's lots of like really large back gardens, and I feel like you would spend a lot of time outside. It's quite a nice country, like weather-wise, I feel, at least. I mean, to be fair, I've had rain for like the last 50 days, so I can't really talk about weather right now. But yeah, and I feel like you just spend a lot of time outside. Maybe that's stereotypical of me, I don't know. Let me know into there. But yeah, I really wanted a nice big space, and I feel like we haven't done that big of a build for a while. I mean, we did the spacious home not too long ago. That was on a big lot, but I feel like that was a big house, and that kind of took away from the garden, where this one I kind of wanted to do the opposite. I wanted a small house, big garden into there as well. But yeah, as I say, barbecue sort of backyard patio area in here. I have gone for a picnic table. I was thinking of doing like a big dining table, but one thing I have kind of found is that they then come out there for like regular meals outside, rather than just having it for barbecues and that outdoor space. So decided to go with a picnic table in there, and just thought that would be a nice little sort of outdoor feature space, maybe for entertaining or whatever, into there. And then we have gone for the typical pool, because yes, there was quite a few of them in Melbourne. I actually have no other photos of this house, so I couldn't tell whether this one had a swimming pool in the garden, but I figured, well, why not? We have the space, and I was kind of dreading what I was going to do with this space. I love a nice back garden. Unfortunately, I don't particularly like furnishing gardens, unless it comes to like my big estates, where I can do lots of hedging and yeah, lots of sort of really nice big intricate detail work. In here, as I said, we broke this all up, so we have this sort of pool area. In here we've kind of got the barbecue area that we've come back to, because we changed it up for this one, into there. And then we have this space up here, which I figured, you've got kids, you've got quite a few of them, why not have a really nice treehouse in here? And I don't feel like I've used the treehouse decoration for a while, so why not? I have actually come through, when I playtested it, which is why it took so long, I have actually created the treehouse, so I've built that for you. I think I did it in pirate theme, I can't really remember, but you can obviously change that as you would like into there. And I figured a nice big sort of sand pit underneath, lots of kind of just sands, make it all soft and things like that, and then a toddler paddling pool and a big swing set, because why not? And I don't think I've ever used this. I know when we did the spacious home, we did the whole big climbing play equipment thing, and I didn't really want to use that again, so just decided to use the treehouse because, well, it's different, and I feel like this house would want having a different treehouse in the garden into there. I know the trees don't technically fit with the world, but you know, sometimes you just have to make some sacrifices into there. As you can see, I am pulling out trees. We ended up going for I think it's the cypress part, like one. There's a few of them in the world, so I figured why not into there. And yeah, now we're coming in to the floor plan, which you can see I have tried several times to the point I actually cut it from the video. I do actually make this lot one bigger than what you saw when I did the garden, so I shuffled everything back in the back garden just a little bit. It's just that walkway into there, it just had to be a little bit smaller, just simply because the bedrooms were too small. You'll see those when we come in to do that. But now we're going to jump onto the inside. So this is the kitchen. Now this is a big kind of all-in-one space in here, which I absolutely kind of love, and it makes for really good sort of gameplay and things like that. The kitchen is a wee bit small, but I feel like we've got plenty of worktop space and plenty of other bits and pieces that actually make this kind of work a little bit nicer into there. And it's tucked nicely into this little corner here. Into that, we did get out a microwave. We don't have too much else in terms of like equipment. We do have a dishwasher, but I didn't place like the pizza oven or anything else like that. I feel like you don't necessarily need them in every build into there, so I decided for this one not to. Now we've cut ahead because I have deleted my scrolling and my favourite items into here. I mean, by now you've all seen my videos, hopefully. If you are new here, hello, welcome in. Yeah, I cut this section because it takes me forever to find out where the right items are and what I want into here. But yeah, they are mainly from the kitchen clutter kit. Yeah, and then also the chef's hustle kit is another really good one that I tend to use a lot of into there. But yeah, we've fully decorated this whole sort of kitchen. I've kind of gone for a very blue kind of theme for this kitchen, and we kind of changed that up a little bit when we go through into the rest of the house. But I've got to be fair, there is quite a few cuts in this because I was running low on inspiration right now. So I literally was scrolling through Pinterest for kitchen ideas, living room ideas, bedroom ideas. Literally, like, everything of this is from online because my brain just could not commute right now. But yeah, I did go for these and then I got rid of them. They just did not really feel right to me in here. The colours didn't match. I didn't like them. So in the end, we went for some more sort of cabinets into there. We followed that through, and then this light blue shelving unit, which I've actually got from Tiny Living. Totally forgot we even had this, but it's got like mugs on it, it's got little sort of tea caddies, and I just thought perfect in there for what I really wanted in there. Now I did actually playtest when I said that this fridge freezer, it does still work. Your Sims do kind of step back into the bin, but it doesn't stop routing or anything like that. I did make sure to playtest that when we go through. And there is a bin outside. It's on the end of the driveway. I feel like it's rubbish day, so why not pop it out there ready for collecting. And also I remembered the mailbox as well, because you know, they're just some of the items I tend to forget. So you have an indoor bin, an outdoor bin, and the post box. So yeah, that's all fine. And now we're going to jump over into the dining area. This is just on the opposite side, so basically the bedrooms are off of this little hallway archway onto one side into there. I kind of made like a separate little hallway with them all in rather than coming off of this main big space. I just felt like if you were entertaining, you could maybe shut that off. Obviously I've put an archway, but you could change that to double doors if you really wanted to. And yeah, it was just a kind of a nice idea to break it up a little bit into there. Now this is where we kind of have to shuffle a few things, and remember I've not done the outsides into there, but we do also have a high chair in there. Now I think there is going to be an update soon about toddlers and infants things like that, and hopefully they're going to change it so toddlers stay in the high chair for food rather than being taken in and out of the high chair, which has been a bug since like toddlers were ever introduced. But you know, I'm gonna say the same are trying, but it's been way too long. Anyhow, I have placed my typical sort of rugs underneath the high chair just because they're messy little ones, and any spills of food that you don't want them falling onto the nice gorgeous rug that I placed down there, which I absolutely love, into here, and getting in another piece of artwork on this wall. There's not too much artwork that goes into this build, I have to be fair, but what I have done I think is really gorgeous into here. And yeah, nice little entranceway. I feel like little shoe cubby, kind of, maybe you could fold up coats or have like hats and scarves or something like that under there, into there as well, and just a nice place to put your keys or anything like that as you walk in the door. I did also forget to put the burglar alarm in. I'm sorry. I didn't play long enough to actually have burglars, but yeah, I disabled them in my game, so there's that. Anyhow, we're now moving over into the living space. Now we have a big bookshelf here. I do slightly clip that out when we placed a armchair in front of it, but it does still work if I can remember correctly, into there, because I can use like the other half, so it's fine. Into there. Now this is where I had a bit of a momentary panic of colour schemes into here. I really like these sofas. The blue was a little bit too bright for me, so I've kind of gone for this green, kind of khaki kind of colour, and it's one of my favourite colours. If you can't tell by now, green is definitely one of my colours into here, but yeah, it just proved a little bit awkward and a little bit weird with this sort of colour scheme. We didn't really get a matching kind of armchair that kind of fitted. It's like it doesn't have arms, it just doesn't feel right to me in here. So we've placed one from the book note kit, and then this is where everything changes. When I want this coffee table from Parenthood, it matches in with the blue, but it doesn't come in the wood tones that I wanted, and so in the end we kind of have to change things up and go for this lighter wood, which I think is actually quite nice because it brightens the whole sort of space up into here. And then just a few other little clutter pieces coming through, and we sort of just decorate this. I do come back to the dining table, and over that you'll sort of see them, and I change the colour of that as well, just to make things a little bit lighter and a little bit brighter into there. And then that bookshelf has now turned a nice blue, which isn't quite matching, but well, this is a Sims and you can't get white to match, so anyway. Some nice little cushions on the sofa. I do change the colours of these so that they are a little bit different into there, and it just lightens those up as well, because I feel like they were a little bit dark. I wish we had this green cushion from the book nook sofa, just like two-tonal sort of green. That would have worked perfectly over on there, but you know, I did what I had to do into there. And now that's pretty much the dining sort of this front all space done. Little bits of kids clutter, just because, well, they're kids and they leave stuff out everywhere. Yeah, I kind of like how this space all worked in. When I first came in, I was like, this is going to be too big. I don't know how I'm going to separate it all. I'm not sure. But actually, this worked in here really, really well. And I feel like you have those kind of natural divides, which works perfectly. And I'm super happy with all of that. So yeah, changing a few of those around. I decided to change the colours of the other one as well, because I really wanted this one over here. And then we have another one just on top, just to kind of give it a really nice contrast and make it a little bit sort of softer. I feel like if the toddler's going to be spending a little bit of time there, we don't want anyone to bump our heads or fall down or something like that. At least I'm thinking practically in my head. Anyway, talking of the toddler, this is their room. This is probably the smallest of the rooms. It's at the front of the house, so it kind of opens out onto the road, which is a little bit iffy for a kind of nursery kids room, but I really wanted this to be a little bit more neutral. So the family I have in my mind, they are all girls, from the teen, the child, and then the toddler are all girls, but obviously you can play however you want. So there are some little sort of softer, kind of more neutral aspects, but then there are bits that are definitely kind of more girl in here, like this rug in there. I kind of wish we had a little bit more of a turquoise potty rather than the blue one, but anyway, that is just what it is into here. We're now going to move on to the kids' bedroom. This is probably actually about the same sort of size, but this one was a little bit more interesting. The door's kind of in a bit of a weird spot, and I had a little bit more difficulty with this bedroom into here, with sort of the soft pinks and purples, and then this soft furniture, which I absolutely loved, but it meant I ended up sort of going round and round in circles trying to get this desk in, because I knew I wanted a desk in there for them, because this sim is very crafty. They do a lot of sort of crafts, and with like the origami kind of set that we got from Eventual Weights, we do actually get that set out there, and there is also just other little bits of crafts we do. We've got the bead table on here, and yeah, I just figured this was a really nice little space for them to sit in there, make friendship bracelets, or do some colouring maybe at the desk or something along those lines into there. We are also using the gamer kit. You'll see more of that when we go into the teens bedroom into here, but I also thought that, I know the windows I've used you can't escape out of, and also we want a foundations you can't really escape out of, but I feel like this goes straight into the backyard. I feel like maybe the kid would just jump out the window, go and sleep in the treehouse maybe. That's kind of what I was thinking, maybe a little bit naughty into there, or like, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking in my head when I was doing this. But yeah, there's not really too much in there. I placed a big stuffed toy in teddy bear in there as well, just to sort of give them something else to do into here. But now we're going to move over on to the teens bedroom. So with this room, I actually came in here with a pretty good sort of plan. I really wanted a kind of bohemian, kind of soft kind of room in there. Lots of sort of pastels, lots of sort of soft, neutral kind of colours, and with this sort of wicker furniture that we got from high school, I don't really think I've ever really used this bed, at least not very often, in there, and I just thought, you know what, actually it would really work with that sort of whitish kind of furniture, soft walls, and loads of plants. I feel like she is kind of a teen who would take care of them, and yeah, just has a really nice sort of room. So a lot of the room sort of bedrooms in here are dual aspect, so this one looks out over kind of the back sort of walkway and then over the pool, which again I thought was a nice little touch, and obviously it gives her a chance to escape out that window, as I said, with the kid into there. Yeah, these rooms are not the biggest, and I feel like I've said that quite a few times for this. They are just about decent enough rooms. I mean, we have got a double bed in here. It could go in the middle to allow you to walk down both sides, but I really wanted this for a teenager, so I figured it would be fine if it's pushed up into the side. Only one sort of bedside table in here, and I've kind of gone for this sort of tray folding one. I feel like if they wanted a little bit more room, they could kind of fold this down. That's kind of thing what I was thinking for in here. And yeah, just loads and loads of clutter, because at the end of the day she is still a teenager, and we all know just how messy they can be. Talking from experience there into there. A few more books, lots of sort of plants, and just a few little piles of clothes everywhere, because who doesn't love a wardrobe, as we would call them in here. Piles of clothes on the floor in here, and there's a slight gap down the side of the bed where the curtain is, and I figured why not have a whole row of sort of pillows and things like that just sort of down here, and I figured why not do them in kind of the same colours. It didn't quite work because some of the colours are a little bit more out there, but I kind of wanted to keep them in there a little bit more neutral So I changed some colours around and shifted a few things, but now we have got in the sort of the desk from the comfy gamer and also the PC and the chair as well in here. I kind of wanted to make this room feel more like for a teenager in here, and I feel like as a gamer, maybe that's what they sort of do, just sort of for themselves. Maybe they chat online, and bits and pieces like that. So, and because also we used it for the kids' room, I really kind of wanted to use a few more items from that pack into here. Yeah. So, nice little sort of workspace, maybe for like homework or studying or something as well. I didn't over kind of clutter this desk area too much, but there is definitely clutter on here, and I cannot for the life of me remember where we put the cup. It kept going placed everywhere but where it was supposed to go. And then, you know, like these kind of rope artwork kind of pieces that you kind of get, I really wanted some of those in here. In the end, we settled just on these two from the horse ranch. I don't think we've actually used anything else from that pack, I've got to be fair. There is one other one from I think it was the movie Hangout or Paranormal, but it just did not really feel right to me in there. So in the end, kind of got rid of that one and just settled on those. And we do also have a big mirror in there for them as well. Now this does only have one bathroom. I have made sure it has a bath shower combo for the toddler, but yeah, I just kind of had to sacrifice the bathroom, and again, as usual, I do not show you that here because yawn, they are so boring. Into there, once you've seen one of my bathrooms, you've pretty much seen all of them. They are pretty standard spaces into there. But now we're on to the parents' bedroom. This is a really long, thin, odd shaped room, and I did not know really how to kind of break this space up. So what I ended up doing is getting in these sort of room dividers, and I was going to place like ivy kind of growing up them, and I thought that just didn't really work. So I kind of got rid of that idea, and then I had the bed on one end and then a big sort of walk-in kind of wardrobe area on the other side by the door. I thought that kind of gave it a little bit more of a grown-up kind of look. At least that's what I'm thinking, but let me know in the comments. In here, how would you have done this room differently? I mean, I could have put the bed on the back wall looking into the room, but it still feels like it's a big expanse. So I kind of just wanted to cut that down a little bit more into here. And then again, lots more plants. I really wanted this to be a place where at the end of the day the parents could kind of shut themselves away and just relax and just kind of, lots of kids, lots of things going on, school activities and all of that. I feel like they just needed a place to decompress, and that's what I really wanted from this room. Anyway, this house is now available on the gallery, so you can go and download that right now. And yeah, there are more screenshots and things like that obviously coming up, but they're also on my socials, so check those out. My link tree for those is down below as well. So definitely check me out there, and you can subscribe to me here on YouTube. It would mean so very, very much to me. And you can also see the full playlist of the World Collection right now over here as well. But until next time, bye everyone!